Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video. I am Chad. I'm the Reseller Rockefeller. If you're new to the channel, I am a full-time reseller. I basically, go to garage sales, I go to estate sales, I go to flea markets and thrift stores, I find items, I buy those items, and I resell those items online for a profit. So if you're into reselling, go down, hit that subscribe button. If you're already a subscriber, welcome back to another video. Sorry it's been so long since I uploaded a video. I've been extremely busy. Me and my family, we've been house hunting for the past couple of months, and it just hasn't went as smooth as we thought it was going to be. But we're in high spirits. We're hoping that we're going to find the perfect house, soon. And yeah, so I've just been extremely busy. Also, running a full-time business, being a one-man operation, it takes up a lot of my time. But today we're going to get into a juicy topic. And presentation is the topic. Obviously, I just said it a little while ago. One of the biggest things that I see that resellers, completely disregard, or they completely don't understand how important it is when it comes down to presentation. And most of you are probably thinking that I'm referring to photographs, which I am. I'm referring to numerous things, not just photographs. I'm referring to presentation as a whole. So as a seller, it's my job to present an item to a buyer, and it's also my job to present it to a buyer to the best of my ability. So when I go out and buy an item, right? Let's say it is a vintage toy, right? Let's say it's some type of aircraft, spaceship toy. It's vintage, it's plastic, it's old, and it's been in somebody's attic for a really long time. And I am, buying this item to resell this item. So when I go to present this item to the potential buyers online, I need to make sure that my title's good. I need to make sure that my photographs are good. I need to make sure that my descriptions are good. And then I also need to make sure that I do diligence when it comes down to testing the item. If it is electrical, I need to make sure that it has all of the pieces. I need to make sure that it is cleaned up to the best of my ability. Obviously, some items you don't want to clean, and then there's some items that you do want to clean. Obviously, you have to use your discretion at that, but that's what I mean by presentation. And I think that there are so many resellers that fail to realize how important it is to present the item to the buyer. I think that there is a lot of resellers that just think that as a reseller, it's just our job to find the item and then offer the item to a potential buyer. And that is right. That is our job. We find items and then offer those items to potential buyers. But there is a bunch that goes on behind the scenes to a successful reseller that is more than just presenting the item to a buyer. It is all of the things that I just mentioned. Title, description, inspection, making sure everything's right, making sure everything's tested, making sure the photographs are correct, making sure that your photographs are good. Good quality photographs can sell an item. Obviously, when somebody goes to eBay and they're looking for an item, they're trying to spend their hard-earned money on your item, and they want to make sure that the item that they're buying is the item that they want. Not only is a presentation really important for, sales, but it's also really important for returns. And so we're going to talk about two things. I talked to a couple of resellers over the past couple of weeks. I was actually speaking to a lady named Linda. She is from the St. Pete area. She contacted me a couple of months ago, and we just became friends. She's a local reseller. She lives a few hours south of me. We became friends. We emailed back and forth. She wanted me to look at her eBay store. She wanted me to kind of give her some advice on the types of items she should be buying. And after looking at her eBay store, I started to kind of give her information that kind of made her feel like she was failing at her business. And now, obviously, I don't want to make anybody feel like they're failing. I don't want to make anybody feel like they don't know what they're doing. But sometimes the truth hurts. And sometimes people need to hear the truth so that they can up their game and so that they can become the best, at whatever it is that they're doing, right? So me and her spoke on the phone. I emailed her numerous times. We got, a conversation going back and forth, and everything's great. I'm trying to explain to her that the items she's buying, not only is she buying really low-end items, the most expensive item that I've seen in her eBay store is probably around $20, maybe $25. Most of the stuff that she's buying is like dishes, glass, lots of little trinkets, pottery-type items, spoons, souvenir items, things that you buy when you go on vacation, things that you collect, like memorabilia type stuff, numbered, dated type items that are made for collectors, one of 90, little, figurine or something of that nature, right? Which is very common, especially nowadays when somebody gets into reselling. People always go after those types of items because they think those items hold value, because they see that it's like a numbered item. They see that it's, number 19 of 500, and they automatically think for some reason that that is going to be a valuable item, and it's really not. It's actually the complete opposite. Items that are made to be collected are just not ever really worth that much money in the grand scheme of things. Now, obviously, there's items out there that are numbered, made to be collected items that are definitely worth a lot of money today. But it's very rare, few and far between. So not only was her items not up to par, but it's also her photographs. So the way she photographs items is she puts a quilt on top of a table, and then she has a lamp, and then she photographs the items sitting on top of the quilt. Now this quilt has multiple colors, multiple shapes, designs, things like that. So it's very, very busy. It's very distracting, it's very colorful, it's very bright, and that's why she thought it would work great as a background. But it's the complete opposite when you're talking about Google, when you're talking about search engines, when you're talking about, search optimization, when you're trying to get your listing to rank in eBay. You need to make sure that those items are photographed on a white background. Now, obviously, I know that there is a ton of resellers out there that use other colors like brick, wood, things of that nature. Yes, those will work. I'm just a firm believer of white backgrounds. I have tried other backgrounds. Over the years, I have used all kinds of different backgrounds, different materials. I've used numerous lighting kits. I've used numerous setups. And the one that I find works the best is just a simple lighting setup, like 2 box lights like what's sitting behind me, and then a white background. I actually made a video. If you want to go check out a video about building a photography table, by all means, go to my YouTube channel. I uploaded a video months and months ago regarding making a cheap photo table that works great. It's 4 foot by 4 foot. It works perfectly. That's all you need, and it's extremely cheap to make. Anyways, her photographs were really, really bad because of all of the color and all of the distraction and the items in general. So me and her went to talking back and forth about this, and I tried to explain to her, like I do all the time on my channel, that knowledge is king. People try to tell me all the time, when I go out to garage sales and I go to estate sales and I see other resellers always tell me, or they always ask me, why is it that you go after this type of stuff? Because I'm knowledgeable, because I have education. When it comes down to finding really good, profitable items, I know what I'm doing. I've been in the business a long time. But to somebody that's new to reselling, they might look at the types of items that I'm going after and think, why is he buying that bowl? Why is he buying that wooden, old, dirty bowl? Why? When there is a NES with a bunch of games in a box right next to it. Because I'm going after that bowl because that bowl is worth $1,200, because it's an antique bowl, because it has character, because it's unique, it's old, it's rare, it's worth a lot of money. Those are the types of items that I go after. But most people cannot relate to that. They don't understand what an antique is, or they don't understand what value is when it comes down to these types of items. So I'm not saying that you have to go after antiques. I'm not saying that you have to go after used items or that you have to go after anything specific. All I'm saying is you need to learn what quality is. You need to learn what value is. That's the thing. You got to educate yourself. You got to become knowledgeable, and that's going to build you as an actual reseller. It's going to build you up. And you're going to be able to find this good stuff. You're going to be able to make a bunch of money. But presentation is more important than you could ever dream of. And there's so many resellers out there that are slacking on presentation. So lots of resellers are capable of learning fairly quickly, especially with the amount of knowledge that's on YouTube today, what to go after. There's so many resellers that make excellent content on YouTube that teach people, hey, these are really good items. This is not good items. This is, there's just tons of information, right? So it's fairly easy for resellers to understand what they should be buying, what they should be looking for, things of that nature. But there's a whole nother side to reselling, and that is, presentation. And that's why I thought this would be such a good video, because there is probably a few of you that are watching that slack when it comes down to the photographs, the item specifics, the item details, the description, and the title. Those are all very important things, right? And so we're going to start off with, obviously, the photographs. The photographs are very important because you want to present that item to the buyer, and the first time the buyer looks at the item, you want them to automatically get the feeling that they found the item that they're looking for. If they click on your listing because they read the title, and then the first photograph is of let's say it's a vintage Polaroid camera, and it's sitting on top of a dresser, and right next to the dresser is a dirty sock, and then next to the dirty sock is a hairbrush, and it just doesn't look appealing, right? It doesn't matter how good of a deal the item is. It doesn't matter if it's priced correctly. It doesn't matter, if you have the best title in the world. They're going to be turned off by the photograph, and they might not want to buy the item from you based on just the photograph alone. Now, obviously, there might be some of you in the comments section saying, Chad, but the photographs don't mean everything. I've sold items before with horrible photographs, but I sold it at a really good price, and it was a really rare item, and it sold immediately. And you're going to be telling the truth. I have done the same thing. I've bought items at estate sales. I've went right out to my car. I put the item on the dashboard, I took a photograph of it, I listed it, and I sold it immediately. Some items will sell like that. If it's a rare item, if it's a unique item, if it's a very sought-after item, if it's an item that's expensive and you priced it really low, people are willing to gamble. But why would you, do that with every listing? It's just, only thing it's going to do is decrease the odds of your item selling. And as a reseller, you should be doing everything to increase the odds of that item selling, if that makes any sense. Presentation is so important, and just so many resellers fail to realize that they have to take that extra step. I see a lot of resellers today with 1,500, 2,000 active listings. They got really good merchandise or really good inventory. They got fairly decent titles. They got halfway decent descriptions, but they're just not selling that much stuff. And I can always look at somebody's eBay store and usually immediately determine what's the problem. It's either going to be their photographs, their titles, their descriptions, or it might be just the price itself, right? Or it could be the fact that they're selling items that require a few extra steps, like testing. I see a lot of people that want to get into electronics and they want to sell VCRs because that seems to be the hot thing on the market right now, and you can find them at pretty much every garage sale, every flea market, every thrift store. VCRs are selling really good, VCR DVD combos, things of that nature. And I see a lot of resellers wanting to get into this, but they don't want to take the time to properly test the item. And this can play a huge role in the fact that that item might not sell, because who wants to buy an electronic item from a reseller that doesn't want to put in the time to properly test every feature and guarantee that it works? So that's what I mean by presentation. There is a lot more to that word than meets the eye. When I say presentation, I mean title, description, item specifics, photographs, price, everything that you can implement into that little listing to present the item to the buyer. That's what I mean when it comes down to presentation. And so many resellers, like I keep saying, they slack. They don't know how important it is. They don't care to go that extra mile. And I'm going to tell you right now, and this might hurt some of you guys' feelings, but the ones that are truly succeeding on eBay, the ones that are truly succeeding in reselling are the ones that are going that extra mile. The ones that are putting in that just tad bit more effort when it comes down to, the photographs, or when it comes down to accurately describing the item, or putting an excellent title and doing all of the research to make sure that you have all of the item specifics. Making sure that in your description you list all of the details and all of the features of whatever the item is you're selling. I'm telling you right now that so many resellers could do so much better than what they're doing if they just put in that extra time, if they just put in that, that one extra step. and just go that extra mile, you're going to make a big difference in the amount of items you sell. And the same thing goes, obviously this is off topic, but the same thing goes for everything. When it comes down to reselling, I talk about knowledge is king all the time. But there's a lot of resellers that don't really care to put in the effort to try to learn anything more. They don't want to learn about, something new. They want to stick to whatever it is that they like the most, right? But they want to buy and sell anything and everything. It's just that they don't care to learn about anything and everything. I see it all the time at garage sales. I see people all the time at garage sales, and I talk about this all the time on my channel. I will see resellers that I know buy and sell all kinds of stuff. Toys, electronics, jewelry, watches, glass, pottery, antiques, collectibles, baseball cards, comic books. These resellers buy and sell it all, right? Just like myself. I buy and sell anything and everything. And I'll see these resellers at a garage sale, and they walk right by a specific type of item, and I say, hey man, how did you miss it? How did you miss this item? And they're just like, oh, well, I don't know anything about old World War II stuff or old military items at all, so I didn't even really pick it up. And I'm like, oh man, that's crazy, because you just walked by a really cool item. This item was only $2. It's going to sell for $300. You need to, up your knowledge when it comes down to everything. You know what I'm saying? And so this is something that I talk about all the time on my channel. If you're a subscriber, you know that I talk about knowledge all the time, because knowledge is extremely important, especially when you're a reseller that goes to garage sales, estate sales, flea markets, thrift stores. These are places, every one of those places that I just named are places where you're going to find large amounts of different stuff. You're going to find all kinds of different types of items, and you don't want to pass an item up just because you don't know anything about it. That's why you have to learn a little about a lot, and it'll get you by. But, presentation, that's what this video was all about. I hope that, the last 16 minutes, 17 minutes of me talking inspired you to do more and to just go that extra mile, put in that extra little bit of effort, and understand that presentation means a lot in this business. I go that extra mile with every item that I list. I want to make sure that that item sells. I want to make sure that that item is appealing. I want to make sure that that item is presented well. I want to make sure that everything goes as smooth as possible. And it takes just a little bit of extra time. It takes a little bit of, knowledge of, how many photographs should I put? If you're photographing an antique piece of pottery, you want to make sure that you take the correct photographs. I've seen a lot of resellers that will go out there and they'll find a beautiful piece of pottery or something. They'll bring it back and they'll take 5 photographs. They won't show the bottom. They won't show the inside. They just, that's just common sense. You want to know, like, the types of items that you're selling. You want to know what photographs are kind of standard when it comes down to presenting this type of item to this type of audience. And when it comes down to pottery, you always want to show the bottom. You always want to show any types of maker's marks. You always want to show the inside of the item. Those are the things, those are the little details that I'm talking about. Just learning that simpleness of, how do I photograph this item, or what is the standard when it comes down to specific types of items. Clothing items, for example. Most people know that clothing items, you want to put at least the front, the back, the tag. And also, most people know that you want to put the measurements in the description. That's kind of like standard for an article of clothing. The same thing goes for any type of item out there. When you're talking about a watch, you want to make sure that you get a good photograph of the overall watch. You want to make sure that you get the back, the band, a close-up of the bezel and the face. You want to make sure that you open up the back, take a good picture of the actual inside, the actual watch mechanism. Those are standard photographs if you're selling somewhat of a high-end watch. Now, obviously, if you're just selling a $30 watch, you don't have to open that watch up. You don't have to take pictures of the inside. But those are just what I mean by going that extra step. Doing a few little things different than your competitors can make you stand out in any market. It doesn't matter what you're selling, where you're selling, doesn't matter the market. It's going to make you stand out, and it's going to make you sell more items. So I hope y'all enjoyed the video. I know that I talk fast. I know that I kind of go on and on about things, but I'm extremely passionate about this business. I've been in the reselling business for an awfully long time, and I see so many resellers out there that have so much potential if they just came down to the realization that they have to put in a little bit more effort. They have to go that extra mile. Until next time, folks, I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot for coming and watching another video. If you haven't already, go down, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, and leave me a comment. If you have any questions, anything like that, you can always leave it down in the comment section, or you can always send me a personal email at resellerrockefeller@gmail.com. Until next time, folks, I'm out of here. Peace.